Islam caters very carefully for the minorities. If you are living in a Muslim state and if you are a minority or a Christian or a Jew, it's upon the government of the Muslim government to look upon you, look after your welfare, your property, your businesses must be protected. This is why we pay the government, like what we do in Hong Kong. So that is different, this is different. For Muslims, it's more of a spiritual well-being for them to cleanse their spirituality. But of course, a non-Muslim may not believe in it, so he is not bound to give for the purpose of purification, but for the purpose of safeguarding his rights. Right? And in Islam, in the Islamic Sharia, the moment you feel threatened by a Muslim, that very moment your rights have been already taken up. You can go to the court of the Muslim government and say, look, I have a non-Muslim neighbor and I fear my life for him. I fear from him. If you say this is good enough for the police to investigate into this. It's not necessary that he has to harm you, unlike the conventional system we have today. I was told yesterday, I learned something very new. For example, if he's walking on the street, I go fight him, he defends himself, and he fights me back. Even then, both of us will be handcuffed, will be taken to the police station, we need to be bailed out, and then we have to appear before the court. So, in the conventional system is actually, I have to see, the police has to see the bleeding. They have to say, okay, well, no, these guys were doing some wrestling, so arrest them. But in Islamic law, the moment a non-Muslim feels threatened, not necessarily a Muslim could have used abusive words, but he feels, my neighbor is trying to do something to me. Maybe he had some dispute with his partner, maybe his business partner was a non-Muslim. So now he fears that, somebody is trying to come to his house and harass him. You can take your case to the court and the court will take it very serious. Why? Because number one, you are a minority and you are paying your due. And it's upon the government, in the Islamic government, to protect your rights. So this is how sensitive Islam is. It's very cautious about maintaining the rights of people. So there are two. So one is sadaqah, one is zakah. But the begging part, they know the Muslims are very soft-hearted. We give, I give. My son, my daughter, as soon as I come, take them, they need money. At least $1 they have to give. But it's the way I train them. Because the children have to learn to give. Because the one who gives is more handsome in the sight of God than the one who takes. Right? So this is how it is. It's not because of that, but they know that we are very soft-hearted. So they come, they know how to put this in a baby face, and then you feel pretty, okay, old man, But in Hong Kong, begging is not required because the welfare is doing very good. Awesomely very good. In places like where we come from, the welfare, the government officials themselves take it home. So the people don't receive question here. It's not even there. So this is the difference.
Thank you. To strengthen this, what the brother has in detail explained, I would like to share a story from the life of the Prophet Muhammad regarding the begging that the sister asked the question. The Holy Prophet was among his companions, those called Sahaba, and then one Sahabi, one companion of the Prophet, he stood up and he asked that somebody came and I have nothing to survive. Then the Holy Prophet asked the people sitting there at that time, the companions of the Prophet, who can help this brother? At that time, people sitting there, mostly they were not that much rich, but one of them stood up, he said that I have few dirham. Dirham was the currency that was used at that time, at the time of Prophet Muhammad. Now, for just take an example, we can say dollars. So he said, I have few dirhams at my home, but if you allow me to go home, then I can bring that I have few, dollars with me, and then I can give it to my brother. Then he went back his home and bring the money, the dirham that he has at home. And then the Holy Prophet, from that money, gave few dirhams to this brother who asked for help. And then asked him to go to the bazaar, to go to the market and buy an axe that the woodcutter used to cut the woods. And then the Holy Prophet himself fit inside the stick of the wood and asked him to go to the jungle, to the forest, cut the woods, and then sell it in the market and make your army. So from this, the story of the examples that the Holy Prophet, set, is that, and then told that companion that on the day of judgment, you will not have the scar of the begging on your face. Because it makes somebody, lost his self-respect. But rather than ask him to do his job by himself, and if the help of a brother to another brother can make you on the survival. But then it doesn't mean that you just keep begging and now it becomes an institution. Now it becomes like a profession. People don't do anything, but it has an institution. And there are very, established people like the gangsters. These people also have the network. And then they have the chief of those beggars. Then all the money that they collect, they are pooled somewhere. And then he exploits these people. I heard, I don't know, Allah knows the best. There are stories like that. Some people deliberately, physically make them disabled. So they will be more, miserable situation. And the people sometimes are very soft-hearted. And then they get maybe more money. How can, our religion can, promote this or, encourage these kind of things in Islam? Totally this, begging is discouraged. But rather than to help somebody so that he can stand on his feet, that's okay. You can help somebody.
Teach me to fish and unfish for life. Basically, that's what it is.
Yeah, and then one of the things that Islam asks us to spend your money, this zakat or sadaqah, there are a whole list. But one of them is that you set free the slaves. As the Mufti Sahib said in his lecture, there is no more, in this modern society, we can find a slavery system. Then how can we fulfill the true spirit of that Islamic, the Quranic commandment that says to set the slaves free? Now the scholars say that if somebody is in debt and he will not be in a position to pay his debt back, so from that money you can help this brother so that he can pay his debt. So then you can fulfill the commandment of God that is in the Quran. What's that? To set the slaves free. Then this money can also be used to help those kind of people.
Nowadays in some countries,
yeah,
the whole family were taken into as a slavery because of their debt.
Yes.
And they made them to work in their home or somewhere for so many years. So it's going on.
Yeah.
In many poor countries it's going on.
That's called, the system that we call it actually is the people who make the bricks. When you construct the building, the bricks. And those people made those bricks from the mud, and then their whole family, actually they take some money.
They pay some money to the family, and they took the whole family there.
No, it's their property.
Yes.
No, it's their property.
They become their property, yeah.
Then
from morning to night they have to work.
The generation to generation then became like slaves, because they are not in a financial position to pay their debt back.
Advance money they are paying.
But it's also their fault, because they take the money in advance, not what they work and then they get. No. They take too much money in advance, and then for the rest of the life, their offspring and their offspring go on.
The problem is illiteracy is the problem.
Yes. Yes.
Just now, he said that you are not allowed to gain wealth without effort, right? You're not allowed to gain wealth without effort.
He means
what about inheritance then? Just say you're born in a very rich family, but you are a very ruined, spoiled son. When your father dies, you inherit a fortune.
That is your right.
Inheritance. What about it?
Okay. When the Imam said, you're not allowed to take money without effort, without sweating, he was meaning business. Business and what you get from your father is different. Inheritance is a right of every child. But Islam makes that very clear. That's your birthright. The moment your father is Likashi, and he's got so much money in his account, he wants to, and Islam says you should give equally. And Islam, Quran, actually the science of inheritance is a separate subject, it's a vast subject in Islam.
Very interesting.
It's interesting one. Secondly, it's not even for me to even study and stop because I'm not an expert.
The calculations.
You see, so it itself is so beautiful. If you look at the Islamic system of dividing the wealth of the father or the husband after the demise, it is to make sure everybody gets the equal share. Right? It is your due right. But when it comes to business, one thing is what God made for all of us is unless you take your steps to earn a living, you're not going to find anything. Right? It is we who have to apply for a job, design your CVs, send it through, bite your nails and wait for results. Or you're a businessman, when you do business on your own or invest with a partner, there are chances that it could be a profit, but it could be a loss. Right? You take the risk. But you take the risk. That's what makes a champion a champion. Everybody looks at a successful businessman and say, wow, this guy's lucky. But what we don't see, to reach that level, he must have lost more than 11 or 12 businesses before he succeeded in one. Like Air Asia, the cheapest flight, the budget flight, the concept of budget flight. And I love the caption, now everyone can fly. Do you know he actually lost a lot of money in more than 10 ventures that he did? When he wanted to go, this is Tony Fernandez, his name is Tony Fernandez. He's a Malaysian Christian, he's a Sri Lankan basically. And even the Chinese of Malaysia started to admire this man. Because the Malaysian Chinese are entrepreneurs, they're business people, they control the economy. They admired him for his idea. How did this guy come with such an idea that big airline companies even never thought of it? You see, so he took a risk. You know how he took a risk? He had one bungalow. He had to sell that off to buy a retired aeroplane. He bought this aeroplane, he did some makeup, he refurbished it, and then he flew first from KL to Johor Bahru, then to Penang for 10 ringgits only. On the bus, it will cost you 30 ringgits. For 2 years, he was doing local, flying around. But what he did, but you have to book the ticket 6 months ahead, 3 months ahead, if you want the $10. If you want normal fare, then you book today, we fly tomorrow. So that money he received from you, he reinvested into the business again. You see, very smart. But he gambled. Right? So that's what the Sheikh was saying. If you want to be someone in life, you have to take those risks. And what makes us, great human beings is we make the right decision at the right time. We take that risk that most people don't want to take. Li Ka-shing, look at his life. How did he become a millionaire?
No pain.
Yes, there has to be a pain to gain something. Even if you go to a physical trainer, he says, look, I have a tummy, I want to look like Arnold Schwarzenegger. The guy says, okay, this is what you need to eat. You can't eat this. And then you have to, come and do your physical training every day, minimum 40 minutes. And then you go through the pain to make yourself look good. So, but when it comes to interest, what I'm doing, okay, if somebody comes and asks me, brother, loan me a few $1,000s, why is he coming to me? Because he can't even afford that few $1,000s. Am I right? So now what I do, I take advantage of his situation. I say, fine, I'll give it to you, provided that you give me this percentage of interest. And the man is in desperate need. He says, okay, fine, I'll just do it. So he gets some money, he signs a contract that he will pay you every month, 10% or 20% or 50% interest. Leave the actual as it is, the principal is still there, but he'll be paying you every month the interest, and he will not even settle his principal. It will be gone for years and years, while the guy who's just given him $2,000 to assist him, now his principal stands at $20,000. So he's making a very easy living by exploiting other people. In Islam, you're not even allowed to do any, you're not supposed to exploit anything, even the earth, even the animals, you're not supposed to overburden them. Forget humans. Islam forbids people slapping the animal on the face. You're not supposed to slap animals on the face, nor human beings. Prophet forbid it. He said no. Even animals, have you seen people do that? They hit cattle on the face. They do that to the horses because the horses don't want to comply to their demands. This is completely forbidden in Islam. You're not supposed to brand your animals with heat. They put this heat, they brand it. You're not supposed to put marks on their body. There are a lot of, even for animals, Islam has put restrictions. There are things you can't do. And so if that's the case with animals, then Islam must be treating humans even better. So what Islam said, you can't do exploitation. When you start doing exploitation to people, the economy never grows. Because there are so many talents in our society. You see, there are two groups of people in the world. One who got so much money they don't know what to do. There is another group of men and women who are extremely talented. They want to do something in their life, but they don't have financial aid. Given the financial aid, these people can do wonders because they have the brains. The man who's rich may have limitations in his thoughts, but he's got money. So these people should come together to do something wise. So that's what Islam encourages. Work hard and achieve your goals. And my boss, when I was working for a multinational company, when he offered me that job, I was very happy. I said, of all the applications you receive, thank you for giving me this job. I would like to, do something in return as a gratitude. He gave me one single advice. He said, my friend, I am a CEO of Asia Pacific. He's an Australian Indian, Indo-Australian. He said, when I started with nothing. Today I'm a CEO of entire Asia Pacific. I got factories under my name, under my in charge, blah, blah, blah. And then he said, one day, maybe you will be sitting where I'm sitting. So one day, a person like you called Ashraf will come looking for a good job. Give it to him. If you do that, I will accept that as a gratitude. And then I said, thank you. That was very wise thing he said, something that had impact on my mind. And I'm still holding that principle. And then when I stood up to say goodbye, okay, so I'll see you on Monday, I'll start my work, he gave me another piece of advice. He said, you need 20% talent and 80% hard work if you want to be successful. It's very true. Without hard work, there's no way you're going to achieve your goals. Hard work and sincerity. Be focused on what you do. Be loyal to the companies you work for. This is very important if you want to be successful. So this is saying, what he said was basically Islamic. It's coming from non-Muslim lips, but doesn't matter. Even Prophet accepted a poet who wrote, he's a non-Muslim, he said everything will be destroyed except the face of God. To that Prophet said, Na'am, true. So we accept anything from anybody as long as it is true and good. Right? So this is what it means, sister. Inheritance is your birthright. You can actually demand your inheritance. Nobody can cheat you out of it. No way.
And what about gambling then?
Yes.
On what basis is not allowed in...
I'll tell you what happens with gambling. Quran says it's evil. And it reproduces evil. Islam strictly believes that a bad conduct should not be advertised and propagated. These are people that Islam despises. God Almighty Himself says He will not look upon them on the day of judgment, who do evil and they decide to say boast about it. Gambling, if you look at all the gamblers, in the 90s, I don't know whether you followed the newspapers in Hong Kong, we had a lot of housewives coming from decent families, having 2 to 3 children, entered into brothel business. You know brothel business? Prostitution. And the South China Morning Post, they printed out, they said the reason why these decent women, and these are not women coming from a damaged family, broken, no, they're coming from a very decent family. And the interviewer asked them, why you want to get into this profession? Because this is not beneficial to psychologically and physically for any woman, or for the society as a whole. You know what they said? They said, because our husbands have a habit of gambling, they gamble so much, they sucked all the wealth. Now my husband is running away from these loan sharks, and I have 3 children to feed. What am I supposed to do? So all I have is my body, so I sell that body. You see the consequences? So every action has a consequence. That's what Islam says. You should know before you do anything what is the consequences of doing that. So when the Quran says this is forbidden unto you, we see the benefit. You're going to sit there, so you're looking for easy money. And easy money don't come. It's not that easy. You see, we people are living in the city. Trust me, our lives are far better compared to people who work in the farm, work with livestock. You know why? Because they don't have a single day off. You and I, some of us are so fortunate to have Saturday, Sunday off.